The group text started innocently enough, the way family disasters always do. Asterisk Marcus. Hey fam. Dad's 60th is coming up. Thinking we go big. Country club, live band, the works. Asterisk. Asterisk Vanessa. Yes. He deserves it after everything. Asterisk. Asterisk Anthony. I'm in. Split 4 ways. Asterisk. Marcus at Diana, you in? I stared at my phone over my morning coffee, already knowing where this was heading. My siblings had champagne taste on a beer budget. Correction, on MY budget, since I was usually the one who somehow ended up covering the small differences, when their credit cards mysteriously declined. Diana, what's the estimated cost per person? Asterisk Marcus. Only like $3,000 each. Totally reasonable for Dad's big 6-0. Asterisk. I nearly choked on my coffee. $12,000 for a party. Meanwhile, I knew for a fact Marcus was 3 months behind on his mortgage. He'd called me crying about it just last month. Asterisk Diana. I'll have to pass on the group contribution. Happy to celebrate Dad in other ways. Asterisk. The typing indicators danced for a solid minute before the responses flooded in. Asterisk Vanessa. Seriously? It's Dad. Asterisk. Asterisk Anthony. Classic Diana. Too good for family. Asterisk. Marcus. Must be nice to be too broke to care about Dad. Face with tears of joy. Vanessa. She probably spent all her money on those coding boot camps that went nowhere. Asterisk Anthony. Remember when she said she'd be making 6 figures by 30? Skull 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 asterisk. Asterisk Marcus. I'm investing in my future, she said. The future of disappointment, maybe. Asterisk. I set my phone aside and looked around my cramped studio apartment. Every stick of secondhand furniture, every patched-up hole in the wall, every ramen dinner had been a deliberate choice. Because while my siblings were financing their lifestyles with credit cards and Dad's loans, they'd never repay, I'd been playing a much longer game. The family meeting was scheduled for Sunday dinner at my parents' house. I knew it would be an ambush, but I went anyway, parking my beat-up Honda Civic between Marcus's leased BMW and Vanessa's Range Rover that I happened to know was 2 payments away from repossession. There she is, Marcus announced as I walked in. The family ghost. Thought you might skip this too. Wouldn't miss it, I said, settling into my usual spot at the dinner table. The dining room hadn't changed in 20 years. Same oak table, same china cabinet, same family photos where I was consistently pushed to the edges. The afterthought child who came 10 years after the real family was complete. So, Dad said, cutting straight to the chase, the kids tell me you're not contributing to the party. That's right. Too broke to contribute, Marcus laughed, using air quotes. Our little Diana, still struggling with her career in tech. Remember when she turned down that receptionist job at my company? Vanessa added. Said she was above it. Now look who can't afford a party contribution. I'm not above anything, I clarified. I was already employed. Right, your remote work, Anthony smirked. What is it you do again? Customer service? Software development. For who, Nintendo? Marcus joked. Making minimum wage to test video games? The whole family laughed. Mom shook her head with that disappointed look she'd perfected over my 31 years of existence. Diana's always been our dreamer, she sighed. Head in the clouds while her siblings handle reality. Speaking of reality, Dad interjected. Marcus tells me he's closing another big deal this month. Marcus puffed up. $250,000 commission coming my way. Already put a deposit on a boat. I happen to know the only deal Marcus was closing was a debt consolidation loan, but I kept quiet. And Vanessa's getting promoted to regional manager, Mom beamed. Well, I'm in the running, Vanessa corrected. It's basically guaranteed. She'd been in the running for 3 years. Anthony's practice is booming, Dad continued. Yep, thinking of opening a second location, Anthony lied smoothly. His chiropractic practice had exactly 4 regular clients, 2 of whom were our parents. And then there's Diana, Mom said, the disappointment dripping. 31, living in that tiny apartment, driving that old car, can't even contribute to her father's birthday. It's fine, Dad said magnanimously. We can't all be successful. Someone has to be the cautionary tale. Actually, I said, setting down my fork, I'm saving for something else. Oh, this should be good, Marcus laughed. What, a new laptop? Gonna finally upgrade from Windows 95. A house. The laughter stopped. A house, Vanessa scoffed. In this market? With what money? With the money I've been saving instead of spending on parties we can't afford. We can afford Dad's party, Anthony protested. Can you? Marcus, aren't you 3 months behind on your mortgage? Marcus went red. That's temporary. Vanessa, didn't you ask Mom for $5,000 last month for car repairs that somehow turned into a Gucci bag? That's none of your business. Anthony, how's that second location coming? Found a way to pay your current rent yet? Shut up, Diana. See, while you've all been playing successful, I've been actually building something. That customer service job? I'm a senior developer at a tech startup. Those coding boot camps that went nowhere led to a 6-figure salary. That tiny apartment helped me save 80% of my income for 3 years. Bullshit, Marcus spat. You're making this up to save face. I pulled out my phone, opened my photos. Here's the house I just closed on. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, corner lot. They crowded around, staring at the pictures of a beautiful craftsman home with a wraparound porch and mature trees. How? Mom whispered. By living below my means. By investing in skills instead of status symbols. By understanding the difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy. This has to be fake, Vanessa insisted. Or you're renting. Bought it cash. No mortgage. Want to see the deed. Nobody buys houses cash, Anthony argued. People who save their money instead of financing boats they can't afford do. Why didn't you tell us? Dad demanded. Would it have mattered? You'd already decided I was the family failure. Every dinner, every gathering, every group text is a reminder that I'm the disappointment who couldn't measure up to your success. If you have so much money, why not help with the party? Mom asked. Because I'm tired of subsidizing everyone's fantasy. Marcus's big deals that never close. Vanessa's promotions that never happen. Anthony's booming practice with no patience. You all live in this elaborate fiction where you're successful and I'm the failure, and I'm done playing along. So you'll let Dad's 60th be ruined out of spite? Vanessa accused. Dad's 60th doesn't need a $12,000 party. It needs his children to stop pretending they can afford things they can't. At least we try, Marcus said. At least we don't give up and hide in some apartment, hoarding money like a dragon. You're right. You try to look successful. I try to be successful. And now I am. One house doesn't make you better than us, Anthony said. You're right. But want to know the best part? The address is 427 Woodland Drive. Dad went very still. That's right next door to this house. To your house. The one you're about to lose to foreclosure. The silence was deafening. What? Mom gasped. Did you think I wouldn't find out? The notices from the bank. The second mortgage you took out to fund Marcus's business ventures? The home equity line of credit for Vanessa's shopping? The refinancing for Anthony's practice. How dare you, Dad started. I tried to help. Offered to look at your finances, make a budget. You said you didn't need help from someone who couldn't even afford to split a dinner check. That was private family business. Mom cried. So private you hid it from the only child actually capable of helping? We didn't need your help, Dad said stiffly. We have it handled. You have 60 days before the bank takes the house. How's that handled working out? Marcus slumped in his chair. You bought the house next door to. What gloat? Watch us pack up. I bought the house next door to be here. Despite everything, you're still my family. And when you lose this house, which you will because none of you will change your spending habits, I'll be right next door. Not to gloat. To make sure you have somewhere to go. We don't need your charity, Vanessa spat. It's not charity. It's what family does. Real family, not the performance you've all been putting on. Get out, Dad said quietly. Dad, get out of my house. I stood, gathering my things. It won't be your house much longer. But mine will be right next door when you're ready to have an honest conversation about why the family failure is the only one not facing bankruptcy. I left them sitting in stunned silence around the dining table where I'd endured years of mockery for living within my means. The text started before I even reached my car. Asterisk Marcus, this is all your fault. If you'd helped us earlier, asterisk. Asterisk Vanessa, you're a selfish bitch. I hope you're happy, asterisk. Anthony, family is supposed to support each other, not judge. I didn't respond. I drove to my new house, my paid-for house, and spent the evening planning the vegetable garden I'd plant in the backyard. 2 weeks later, Mom called. The bank accelerated the foreclosure, she said, her voice small. Marcus missed too many payments. I know. You knew. I've been tracking the public records. You have 30 days. Diana, what do we do? Start by admitting you have a problem. Stop financing lifestyles you can't afford. Get real jobs instead of chasing get-rich-quick schemes. Live like the middle-class family you actually are instead of the wealthy family you pretend to be. It's too late for that. It's never too late. But it requires admitting that the family failure might actually know something about financial responsibility. She was quiet for a long moment. You really bought the house next door? I close next week. 4 bedrooms. If you need somewhere to stay while you figure things out, you do that? After everything. You're my family. I don't like you very much right now, but I love you. And I've got space. Your father would never. Dad's pride is about to make you homeless. Maybe it's time to stop letting his ego drive the family decisions. She hung up, but I knew she'd call back. They all would, eventually. I moved in the following Tuesday. The moving truck caused quite a stir on the street, especially when my siblings realized it was me. Marcus flipped me off from his BMW. Vanessa pointedly ignored me. Anthony just stared. But Mom waved from the kitchen window. A small, tentative gesture, but a start. 3 weeks later, the foreclosure notice was posted on their door. 2 weeks after that, Mom knocked on mine. Just me, she said when I opened it. The others are too proud. But I need help. I let her in. Made tea. Showed her the spreadsheet I'd prepared with apartment listings, job opportunities, budget templates. You had this ready, she said wonderingly. I've been preparing for this moment for 3 years. Since Dad took out the second mortgage. Why didn't you say something? Would you have listened? Or would you have laughed at the family failure trying to give advice? She started crying. We ruined everything. Our home, our finances, our relationship with you. You made choices. Bad ones. But they don't have to define your future. Your siblings think you're evil for not saving the house. I could have paid off the mortgage, enabled another decade of terrible decisions. Instead, I'm offering something better, a chance to start over with someone who actually knows how to build wealth instead of faking it. Mom moved into my guest room that night. Dad lasted another week before his pride cracked. My siblings held out until the sheriff's sale, then came knocking one by one. Here's the deal. I told them at our first family meeting in my dining room. You can stay here while you get back on your feet. But there are conditions. Full financial transparency. Real jobs. No more get-rich-quick schemes. No more leasing cars you can't afford. No more designer clothes on credit. You're not our parent, Marcus protested. No, I'm your landlord. And the only family member not facing bankruptcy. Your choice. They raged. They argued. They called me every name in the book. But they stayed. And slowly, painfully, they started to change. Marcus got a real sales job with a steady salary. Vanessa took accounting classes. Anthony closed his failing practice and went to work as a staff chiropractor at a sports medicine clinic. Dad's 60th birthday came and went with a barbecue in my backyard. No country club, no live band, just family around a table, eating food we'd cooked ourselves. This isn't what I imagined, Dad said quietly. Reality rarely matches our imagination, I replied. But it's real. Paid for. Honest. I owe you an apology, he said. We all do. We spent so many years calling you the family failure. When I was the only one succeeding. I know. Why didn't you hate us? Oh, I did. Every smug comment, every joke about my cheap apartment, every time you called me broke when I had more saved than all of you combined. I hated you. But you still helped. Because success isn't about having more than others. It's about having enough to help when they need it. Even when they don't deserve it. We didn't deserve it. No. But you're learning. The family that had mocked me for being broke now lived in my house, learning the financial literacy they'd scorned. The family failure had become the family foundation. And every morning, I sat on my paid-for porch with my coffee, watching the sunrise over the house where I'd been the disappointment, from the house where I'd proven them wrong. Success, it turns out, is the best teacher, especially when it lives next door to failure.